Hello, and welcome to Rainy Tuesdays, a podcast by friends for friends. Here with Ryan and Margot, no Ioana this time. How are you
Hello.
guys?
Hello. Doing well.
Doing okay, yeah. Whole time.
I've had nothing exciting whatsoever happen in my life, so it's up to you guys to carry our intro.
I had like a sad beginning to last week.
Oh.
In that my cat got sick.
Oh.
It was like really sad. We had to take him to like the vet and everything and gave him medicine. I think he's starting to feel better now, which is good. I was very worried about him towards the beginning of the week. Yeah. Whole time.
Good that he got better.
Yeah, it was really like he was so cute about it though, because like I think he knew that the medicine was helping him. Like he didn't like taking the medicine. It was like a little syringe thing they just squirt in his mouth, right? And he was always like, I hate this, but then like immediately afterwards was very, very like, but thanks guys. Which was sweet of him. He's the most human cat I know, or have ever had in my life. Because like he has allergies. During springtime he gets a lot more sneezy. Insane besties, so do I. And then he like was taking the medicine, and it was really funny because like as we all know I have tummy issues. And so like he had to take some of the same medicine but the cat form of what I take. And I was like, man, two peas in a pod. Just taking our little pain meds together. Ugh, yeah.
I'm gonna say it's weird not having Ioana here after having her on for like 3 episodes in a row.
Yeah, she had homework. She'll be back soon, maybe. It's just that.
I have
Who's
homework
this
too.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
so do I.
I've got my senior project, and it's
That's
like
fine.
great, but also a mess because
Okay.
it's like I found out last week that it's like due next Tuesday,
Oh, that's
and
soon.
so like I'm like sort of panicking because like I've got the report done, but I have like not started the presentation at all. So
Sure.
I need to get that done at some point. And
Fair
it's been
enough.
20 minutes long.
Oh, that's quite a bit.
That's quite a bit. So we'll see how it goes, but
We believe in you.
yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be great. Do you like work with your group for the presentation part, or is that part solo? Or like...
Yeah, so we work together on it. It's just me and a
Okay.
partner.
Oh, okay,
So
gotcha. Yeah,
we're doing good.
nice.
Getting it done. We'll see. We'll
So
see how I
matters.
feel like end of the week.
Right. Yeah. Oh my god. Fair. Lord. Well, we can jump right into it. I planned some stuff. And so at some point last week, Adam asked, I don't know if I cut this out of the episode or not, so maybe this is an irrelevant reference. But Adam asked if we've ever done a serious debate. To which the answer is probably not. And after today, also probably not. But I did find debate questions to ask. I don't know how seriously they'll be taken.
Okay.
Yeah, so shout out to papersowl.com and weirdteachers.com. And then also shout out to me for some of the other ones.
Yeah.
Shout out to Margo. The real work.
Oh my god. But a semi-related one, as finals are coming up. Should finals be a thing?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. I think I'm a firm no.
I can see merits of both.
Yeah.
I think the problem with a lot of school things are they're kind of a necessary evil in my mind.
Okay.
That like maybe you could probably get away with not doing them, but you do have to have, in my mind, some way of assessing the person's knowledge. Otherwise, there's no way to, I don't know, figure out whether they actually learn the material or not.
Yeah.
Fair. I think like 90% of my classes in college didn't have finals and instead had just like a paper at the end or the last third of the class being covered in a test. It was like never like a cumulative, like this has been what you've learned the entire semester, like how much do you know kind of thing. And I liked that so much better because I think it's like, I don't know, I just think it's a better
definitely less
system.
stressful.
Yeah.
I think there shouldn't be classes, or I think there are some classes that shouldn't have finals just because it's like, you really didn't teach that much, or there's not a ton to learn in this class.
Mhm.
or maybe it's just all like hands-on. Like I've had labs that have had finals, and it's like,
Sure, that makes
this is
very
a
little
lab.
sense.
Like
Yeah.
there shouldn't be anything to test on. Then
Mhm.
also, I do not like cumulative finals. Like I've had classes where it's like
Yeah.
you have like a midterm and a
Mhm.
final. And it's like split into two parts, and the
Same.
final is only
Yeah.
on the second part. I like
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely.
I'm in a class right now where we have a midterm, we have our second test right before study day, and then we have the final, which is over both the tests.
That's horrible.
And
I hate
why not
that.
That's the worst possible option,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that one.
No, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's
I've
really
never
bad.
heard of that.
Law
Yeah.
school is set up in a way in which the
Just the
only
final.
grade you have is the final. That's it.
Oh,
Which is enormously stressful. To be like,
Yes.
okay, this test or the entire semester is the only thing that my grade is based on.
mhm.
That's so intense.
Yeah, in undergrad, my finals were always structured like that. If I had a final at all, it was never cumulative. It was always over like the last third of the class or last half, maybe, usually third,
Mhm.
which is better.
The only time I ever had like a cumulative one was like for a gen ed of some sort.
Yeah, I had one for like a science class.
Right, yeah. But even then, the majority of my gen eds had like split things where it was like either thirds or halves. I was gonna say seconds. That's not the word you used. But yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting. I just think like overall finals are like a little silly, and I feel like it's putting too much pressure on like one day for a grade, which like that's not a good way to tell whether or not someone knows their stuff. Same with like
so much
SAT.
that goes into it.
Yeah.
But I don't think doing away with finals altogether is the correct way. Same with like we'll sometimes make similar arguments about homework and essays and stuff. Like it's very class specific in my mind that some classes you can get away with it and some not. But I do dislike cumulative finals as well.
Fair. Yeah. So maybe we're petitioning for just final reform, but not like
I think there should
overall.
be like some metric.
Yeah.
To judge how people do in a class.
Yeah.
Sure.
If there wasn't, then what did I base my personality on?
I'm just paying to get a grade.
Oh my god.
How am I supposed to judge my own self-worth if I didn't get a good grade? Who's to say?
Oh my god. The We Are Teachers one had mostly school related questions, which makes sense from that website.
Makes sense.
Pencils or pens?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think pens.
Pencils, specifically mechanical pencils.
Oh, those are nice.
I go pens. I'm terrible with mechanical pencils.
Fair.
I mess up too much. How am I supposed to erase?
You just scribble it out a little bit and right next to
it. I hate that.
I also don't think you could with how tiny you write. Like,
but I also like I don't have to sharpen my pen.
Exactly. That's a great
Hence, mechanical pencils.
But what happens if like the little lead
snaps?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Then there's more lead.
What about when it snaps really tiny so that when you write, it pushes up in there and you can't write, but then if you click it, it falls out?
I always have that problem.
I've never had that happen to me, but put more lead in it. You might just be at the end, and then if it's falling out, put more.
Seems way more expensive to like keep buying lead for mechanical pens.
I have actually never purchased a mechanical pencil in my life. Because pro tip, people leave their mechanical pencils behind them in libraries and classrooms. So just be a vulture and scavenge your mechanical pencils, and that's how you do it. That has gotten me through the entirety of undergrad and now 2 years of law school is scavenge mechanical pencils.
What if someone lost like their lucky mechanical pencil and they were scouring the library looking for it and Adam had just taken it?
I'll be honest, Adam, I relate to that because I always buy these pens and like half of these pens I have here are things that I've just found and scavenged.
Yep.
And so like I only have like of this, I think I have like 5 pens that are mine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pens that I found.
Double the amount. I love that. There.
It's
little thieves.
Yeah, it's the best way to do it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. And I've never found like a really fancy one. Maybe if I found like a really nice one, I'd turn it in. But I find like the cheap ones
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you
but
ever,
they
like-
work.
Yeah,
Do you ever lend pens or pencils to people?
I do.
I do.
I feel like I
mean,
have like
yeah.
I feel like I have some in my pencil pouch that I'm like I could part with you
Yeah.
though. So it's like those are the ones I might lend because it's like I'm not gonna give like my favorite pen because of the chance that I might not get it back.
Yeah.
Also, I'd probably be using my favorite one. But yeah, I just like the way that a pen glides more than a pencil.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like I can write faster. Yeah. All right, that wasn't one of my questions. Oh, that's not what teachers.com wanted to know. Okay. But my point that I was gonna say is that I'm gonna try to like split those up some so that it's not just like a ton
It's
of
not
school
a
ones.
school debate
Right.
episode.
You guys have
Would
book
AP
covers when
test
you were
be
in
a
school?
Do we have what?
Book covers?
I think
I
one
had
year.
book covers like in 6th grade,
Right.
and then I was like, "This sucks." Actually,
Yeah. I hated how they felt.
yeah, me too.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I had book covers all throughout grade school because like
Really.
we had very old books and they were to protect
Yeah.
the covers.
Mm.
And it was fun because people could decorate them. And get like
Yeah.
fancy ones.
That is
People
cute.
trade book covers.
That does sound nice,
Yeah.
but yeah, I hated how they felt.
Yeah, like the jersey-ish material. Like it was just weird. Yeah. All right. Should celebrities be role models?
I don't think so.
I would say, yeah, probably no. I guess there's like an interesting phenomenon nowadays about like parasocial relationships,
Sure.
which is a big problem,
Yeah.
I think.
Do you want to
and-
define it for the podcast listeners
Oh,
who don't know the
I
term?
don't really know how to define it, but basically, like you watch or read or whatever so many things about this specific person
Mhm.
that in your mind,
Mhm.
it's like you're best friends with them.
Yeah.
When in fact, you don't know them at all and only know the persona that you see through the piece of media that you are watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
think that was a great definition. You nailed it.
it can be very problematic when
Yeah.
Mhm.
because then you can may attack someone for not acting within your preconceived notions of them,
Exactly.
or
Yeah.
protect them to an insane degree when they do something bad.
Yeah.
I think it's
Because-
also
yeah.
It's weird too. Like some people, like you know way more about them and they know nothing about you. Like I was thinking,
Absolutely.
like if I saw someone famous, like
Yeah.
I would like to go up to them and say hi. But I was like, what would I say?
Right.
Because like anything I would say would be like completely out of context to them. I'd just be like, oh,
Sure.
hey, I really like that thing you do.
hmm
But
And for that,
couldn't be
then
too
it
specific
was just like
about
a
it.
Tuesday. Yeah. Like, yeah. Man. I don't know. I think that it's like, when I hear celebrities, I do think like either like Hollywood or like influencer-esque type of people.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Hollywood more so than like
Yeah.
influencers
Yeah.
or like YouTubers, TikTokers, whatnot.
Yeah. And so like I think some of what they do could be role model behavior. Like I know that like Bon Jovi has like this like restaurant that feeds homeless people. I don't know if he still has it, but I know he had it in like the mid 2010s at least. But like that's a great thing to do, right? Like that's like a wonderful like charitable thing.
Mhm.
But like I don't necessarily know much more about Bon Jovi other than his music and that one fact about him. So, you know, I can't really say that he should be or shouldn't be a role model, but it's like weird. I don't know. I think role models should also like, I think you should know more about them. Like, should, like, expanding it past celebrities, what about it if it's just like famous people in general? Like, should, like, not any of our presidents, but say a president be a role model? Yeah.
I think there's like aspects you can like about a person, but
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
I don't think famous people should be role models
Okay.
because they live like such different lives that like you could think you know them, but you really don't. Like
Right.
their life is like 100% different than yours.
100%. Yeah.
And I think there's a difference between someone that you want to be like and just looking up to someone for something. Like I think they can be a kind of image of something that you would like to see improve in the world. So like a
Right.
famous actress might be
Yeah.
a really good cause for women's rights.
Yeah.
And that can be viewed as a role model. But you might not want to be just like that person when you don't really know them.
I think that's a great point. Yeah.
What about fictional characters? Could fictional characters be role models?
I love that question. That's tough.
I struggle with this because I know how crazy the internet can be.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Snape wives. This was a cult of women who thought they were married to Severus Snape, the character from Harry Potter. A whole thing. So I know the level of which people can go out of their minds insane for fictional characters. But on the other hand, worth looking into. Everyone look up Snape wives. Crazy story.
We've mentioned it on this podcast before. We don't sympathize with Snape here on Rainy Tuesdays.
No, nor should you.
Snape was a villain. Anyway, yeah.
But, like, I know Hermione Granger is a really good role model for a lot of women, too. So, like, I think it certainly can be.
Yeah.
But not always. And I think some people, like, maybe some problematic men might idolize the Joker. Like,
yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
There are issues depending on what character that people might associate themselves with.
I do think, though, that it's like you know more about a character than you would know about, like, a celebrity. Because, like, what is about a character is just what is either written or portrayed in whatever piece of media. And so, like, I guess you might, like, the author or writer might have, like, had a side note that they were just writing off of. Like, I know that's something writers do where they have just a page of, like, attributes about a certain character that aren't necessarily in there, but that's just what they want to write the character
like
within.
What guides they're writing.
Yeah. So, like, maybe you don't know that, I guess, but, like, you know what there is to know, I guess. Yeah.
And I think it's probably better because they are fictional. This is not a real person who is having a real, potentially bad impact on the world. It's just a fictional character. And maybe you shouldn't model your behavior off them, but it's not as bad as if it was a real person.
Okay, a side question. When you guys watch a lot of a show, do you feel like you act more like one of the characters? And change that to movie or reading a book or, like, whatever type of media you want. But do you feel like you do that?
Yeah, 100%.
I definitely do. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so influenced.
Yeah.
By just mannerisms, like everything about what I'm watching, reading, whatever at that time.
Anytime I'm, like, rewatching Community is, like, an easy example of me just saying, like, cool, cool, cool all the time. Like, but, like, it's, you know, usually silly stuff like that. But it is just, like, something fascinating to me because there's that whole, like, you're, like, a combination of the 5 people you spend the most time with. But if you're, like, watching a show a lot, I guess that could be one of the people, theoretically. Yeah. Like, I don't know. That was just a random little thing. I don't know. Don't idolize villains, though. I feel like that is a solid take.
Yeah.
Maybe don't.
Maybe not.
If someone's, like, portrayed as a bad person, maybe you shouldn't want to be like them.
I don't know. I really like the evil queen from Snow White.
She is gorgeous.
Does she have a character?
No, it's just a stereotype of older women being bitter against younger women.
Okay.
Yeah. But in Once Upon a Time, the show, she gets more characterization. That was a good show until it wasn't. Which I've said about more than one show tonight. But
a common problem for shows, I think.
No, but that one was, like, so much fun, and then they just kept making it, and they shouldn't have.
Yep.
There's a lot of shows like that where it's like you should have just ended.
Yeah, like it had some really high highs and, like, very little tiny lows until, like, it was only the lows. Yeah. But anyway, moving on. Okay. Should all drugs be legal?
I don't know about all drugs.
Every single drug.
I think drugs should be decriminalized, but I don't think they should be legal. I just think the way that we approach people who have drugs is not conducive to actually helping the situation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think, like, drug dealing should be legal.
Okay. So I have a question because I know that there's like some people who talked about doing this as like a reform. I don't know if it exists anywhere in the world or if it was just like a theoretical thing that people put out, but having like a house thing, like not an actual house. It would be a place of business or like a clinic type of thing where like certain drugs could be taken. And I think
I
in
believe
that
they
case,
do this in
okay.
the Netherlands, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
They also have like safe injection sites for people that
Mhm.
do like heroin or
Sure.
other injectable drugs.
Is that like a better way to do it? Like where it's that's technically like legal, right? Because you're doing it in a place of business. Like you couldn't have that business if it wasn't
Yeah, like
I think the I don't know if it's Netherlands or not, but whatever
sure.
one
Which
of
place?
those
Yeah.
European countries that's very progressive.
Yeah.
I think the way they do it is it's attached to kind of medical support center.
Okay.
So it's you can get your drugs in a healthy and safe way.
Yeah.
Healthy, but safe.
Yeah.
And but they will also, while you're there, be like, hey, there's all this
Try to
care
wean.
available
yeah.
to
Yeah.
have to not be addicted to this drug anymore.
I think
think
that's
Way
good.
to do it instead of just being like, buy your drugs and do them at this place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that like I think I've become more and more of a nihilist like throughout the pandemic, right? In the sense of like we're all gonna fucking die. Like if somebody wants to like be on drugs, let them. Like so long as they're not harming people to do it or while on it.
Yeah, I guess my thing is so often addiction impacts the people around them.
Yeah.
So like
yeah.
I almost think it's not possible for someone to do harder drugs without impacting the people
Yeah.
around them.
Would even in that situation?
If they have to like go
If
to
it's like in a
place and
specific
get-
place that isn't with those people, kind of thing.
Well, I mean,
if
the,
it becomes to the point of an addiction, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
the main
yeah.
point to like places like those is to wean people off. It's not
Right.
more so like, oh, hey, this is like you can keep doing this here. It's more like,
Sure.
hey, we're providing assistance so like you can do this less.
Yeah. Fair. I don't know. I just think it's interesting. I definitely agree that every single one should be decriminalized because, like, what a silly thing to be like. Hey, this person's clearly like going through a horrible time. Let's make it worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very cruel.
I know it's like the whole war on drugs thing
Yeah.
and all
Which,
the stuff associated with that, but I don't know, it's so wild to me to be like, yeah, we're gonna throw this dude who had like a little bit of drugs on him in jail
Right.
and ruin this person's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Nothing. Or to control voting.
Yeah, to not let certain groups of people vote in elections. Man.
Yeah. Systematic. It's upsetting. But anyway.
In an unrelated note, what is
yeah.
the difference between the words systematic and systemic? Because don't they mean the same thing?
Are they not the same thing?
I thought they were the same thing, but then I started noticing people using them in different situations.
I could be entirely wrong, and I'm so sorry if I am to the world. But I thought it was a grammar thing.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
I just remember I was writing something for work, and I was writing like systematic, and then I noticed that the correct word, and this is probably a legal thing, like that's just the phrase, was systemic. And I was
Yeah.
like, what's the difference? Because in my mind, they mean the exact same thing, just one's shorter.
What's the vibe, Ryan?
So systematic is like the use or following of a system.
Okay. Yeah.
Systemic is embedded in the system.
Fascinating. So
Yeah.
systematic comes from systemic. Right?
Yeah.
Like if you're like systematically following something that is systemic.
So I think like systematic is like you base something off of the system. Systemic
Right.
is it is inside the system.
Okay. Like ingrained.
Yeah.
within.
Okay, interesting.
Sure. So they're very close,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not grammar. So I'm sorry.
I just noticed I was like,
I thought they were the
words
same.
sound
I mean, I
almost
think-
the same, and
I
people
think
use
they can
them
be
virtually the
used.
same.
Yeah.
Fair. But that's interesting
It's
to
like
know.
affect and effect. Like, whatever.
I don't care. People care too much. Like, did
I
you
think
read it
a
in the
lot of
same way? That's what
yeah,
matters.
that's what like a lot of grammar things to me is like, does it sound right? If it
Right.
sounds right, you're golden. That's
Like,
it.
and that's how it was, like in Old English. Like when people were writing on their little scrolls and shit, they just wrote down what they heard. They didn't have like an overarching thing that everyone had to follow. Like,
And
people
especially
got along fine.
that grammar rules change over time,
Yeah.
which means that it's not a rule, it's just
Mhm.
kind of what people do. So if a lot of
What's in
people start
style.
changing, then the rule air quotes changes.
Yeah. Didn't that happen with Oxford commas?
That's actually one thing I refuse to let go of, though. I'm a big Oxford comma proponent.
Well, yeah, but isn't that like the new thing? Like, didn't Oxford commas not used to be as important to people, and then like now they
yes,
are?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because I was taught that you did not have to put the
Same
Oxford
until like late high school, and then I had like a college professor that was like, "No, you use them," and I was like, "Okay, exactly. Sir." Yeah.
Which I do think is correct.
Sure.
It 100% does change the meaning of the phrase.
I agree.
Or sentence, depending on where that comma is. So,
commas.
But yeah, that was true that we were taught that way, and then they changed it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Okay.
And don't put 2 spaces after a period. Shout out to my mom who still does this. Stop. That was it's from typewriter age. You're not supposed to do that anymore.
Did you guys
do that too?
You do that?
Yeah. Shout out to Adam's mom.
You're
I
so
feel
old.
ya.
When you guys had to like write in grade school, like for indents, were you ever taught like to put like 2 fingers down on the page? So we were taught to like indent. You should
I
put,
think
like, 2
so.
fingers down the page and then start writing.
Yeah, before we started typing more.
Yeah.
I think I had one teacher who cared about that, and she didn't even really care about that.
I did
so
that
she
for
said it
grade
once,
school.
and then no one did it.
But like
And
my
then
hands
she
got
did.
bigger, so then the indent just got like wider. I was like, this feels like a waste of space.
That's such a funny image because I pictured it being like half the page, even though no human fingers are that big. Oh man. Alrighty. I'm gonna do like a 2 for kind of, in the sense of one of them will be related to the other. But first off, morally speaking, do we have to care about and or help others?
I would say yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
What do you mean interesting?
I mean, like, inherently are you morally obligated? Like, you have to absolutely 100% help every single person? Or is this an internal notion that you feel with your own personal beliefs?
Whatever.
No, I'm interested.
What even are morals?
I think
it's just your intrinsic thing.
So these are split into 3, by the way, where it's like questions I think Ryan would care about most, questions I think Adam would care about most, and then philosophy questions for Margot.
I think it's an interesting one. The church says a lot about this in Christianity of like do unto others as you want it done unto you.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that's the rule. That's part of my code a little bit.
Yeah.
But I also think like I don't know. You see someone that's like struggling, you sort of want to help them. I feel like it's part of like human nature.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like part of your conscience, or if that's morally like what you should do. But
yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I feel like there's just something intrinsic about humanity that makes you want to help other humans.
Okay.
And that I don't like the whole like morally obligated or whatever, because I just think intrinsically it's something you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you probably should, I guess.
I do think you should, and I do think that it's like, yeah, the 3 of us are people like that who do want to help others, right? And we don't want to harm others. Because I do think the 3 of us have like very similar like morals. Like I think they all come from different places because we're all different people, but I do think like we tend to think similarly about like whether or not you should be nice to someone. But I don't know if I think that that's like within our nature. I think there's like certain parts of like if you hear like a baby cry, like, you know, there's that because like cats tricked us like that, which I think is so fun for cats. But I think that like it's definitely more of like societally implanted into people kind of thing, you know? Because I think like who we're supposed to care about within like ourselves matters on how we were raised. Because like,
disagree.
Well,
really?
Yeah.
Because haven't you met someone who's like, I hate this specific group of people with no like regard for their life or well-being?
Yeah, but I think that's a learned thing.
Yeah, I'm saying like it's like how you like I don't think it's a nature thing. I think it's a nurture thing.
yeah,
I think
I
you
think
start out helping people, but then
Okay.
over time
Yes.
you're like become more prejudiced. And are like,
Interesting.
well, I only like
Yes.
certain people.
But I do think Margot's point is right that who you're helping nature is pointed towards is influenced by your background and whatever. Because in some societies, there's like a lot of focus on your elders,
Yeah.
whereas that's in America, depending on where you're raised,
Right.
that matters less.
Yeah.
So for us, we have less of this inkling towards helping old people. Where in
That's actually what I
other
was
cultures,
thinking about when I was talking about it.
yeah,
That's
okay,
fun.
other
Yeah.
cultures do have that intrinsic,
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's what we do. So but I think that baseline human is helping people, but then where that is directed,
Mhm.
Yeah.
change.
That's why I was saying, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's interesting to like think about because it's like I do think everyone has good in them and the capability of like wanting to care and being able to care for others, but we all do it differently. And some harmfully cuz like I know that there is a thing in like abusive relationships where your care and like concern for another person is used in a much more manipulative way. Like I'll only care for you if you do this thing for me, which you know defeats the purpose of caring at all because that's not a very caring thing to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting. I do think people should be morally obligated to care about people, but I don't know if they are.
I guess I just don't think in terms of like you're morally obligated.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. It seems so like fundamental that this is just something you should do. You're not obligated to do it in a way that infers some kind of punishment if you don't. But it
Okay,
is something you should do and should
Uh-huh.
aspire to do.
fascinating. Okay, so then the second one that I was going to ask was something that Adam and I briefly talked about before the podcast. In that, is it okay to ghost people? When is it and isn't
I
it
thought it was
okay
gonna be
to
like
ghost
philosophy
someone?
based.
No, I wanted to like arch off of that because I wanted to add this in somewhere, and I
Is
thought
it morally right to ghost people?
is it morally okay to ghost people? I think kind of sometimes, sure.
Yeah, I think ghosting has a function, but I don't think you should ghost. Like, in my mind, it's
Mhm.
rude to not let people know that.
What if
hey, I'm
we
breaking
started
up with
sending
you.
the little ghost emoji as just like a warning of like I'm gonna start ghosting you now.
I think it depends.
Oh my god.
I think it
Yeah.
depends on the use. Like, I think it is just rude sometimes. I think maybe
Sure.
it's just rude in general, but like, maybe there's someone that's like, I just don't want to talk to this person. I'm not going to respond. And it's
Yeah.
like, that's fair, I guess.
I've
wouldn't do
ghosted
that,
people
but,
before.
Like, I feel like it's a little rude to be like, you're talking to someone, you're like, I'm not interested anymore, and then just ghost them.
Yeah,
I
mean,
guess I've known people in relationships that have then ended, and then one party to the relationship is very needy and
Yeah.
like almost doesn't act like the relationship is over,
Yeah,
even
then
though
I'd
it
say
is.
it's okay to ghost.
And then you're like, hey,
yes.
just cut this person out. It's
Yeah.
not going to. It's
Yeah.
just going to get worse if you
Mhm.
continue like interacting with this person.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think like the certain times when it's okay to ghost someone is the obvious examples of if they are like not taking any other boundaries and they're just like being a really terrible person to you, like, okay, sure, right? But you've like tried to end it in other more amicable ways and it just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And then I think on the opposite side of that is if you've not gone on a date and you've only ever talked like through Tinder or something, okay, doesn't count. You can ghost them. There's no moral obligation there to continue talking to them whatsoever. And then I think if you've been like, I hesitate on the one date. I think it depends on the one date. I think if you've been on one date, it's iffy. But I wouldn't be terribly mad at someone.
I still think it's polite to be like, don't expect anything else from us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think it's pretty rude. I get that it's like almost dating culture now to be like, oh, we were just talking and nothing ever went on, so whatever. But I just think that's kind of rude. And maybe it's because I've never been involved in dating culture, so I don't really know. But in my mind, just that courtesy of like, hey, this is over, it's not going anywhere. If you continue talking, I'm not going to respond. But the first, hey, nothing else is happening here.
Yeah, I think like the best thing to do, like gold star standard, is to say like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm not really vibing with this. Like, sorry, but I don't want to continue talking to you. And or I'm not really looking for this right now kind of thing if you want an easier way to get out of it and not blame the person. But I do think that like I would not be mad at someone for ghosting if like it was so early on kind of thing. Just because like I don't know, it's tough. It's like sometimes people are people pleasers and don't know what to say kind of thing. Like I don't know. Maybe I think it is just because like I've seen it a lot and I have also done it. I will say when I did it, it was after like 2 days of talking, which I feel like really shouldn't count. So like I don't know.
I just send something and be like, hey, I'm not interested.
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that courtesy is.
Yeah.
Because then you're like leaving someone on and being like, well, are they going to respond? Are they just busy?
Sure. Yeah. I say if someone hasn't responded after you've sent them 2 messages and you've like never met them in person, I feel like it's safe to assume that they're just
2 messages. That's the cap.
Yeah. Like if you sent one and they just never responded to it, and then you send another like a week later and they still don't respond to that one, just get it. Also, I unmatch with people too, so that way they can't even like see me. I feel like that was something that I would do too. Is if I was just not vibing, I would probably be like not vibing, and then I wouldn't just say those 2 words. I would say more and or ghost, and then just unmatch. So that way it wasn't like a question in their mind kind of thing. Also for safety reasons as a woman dating. I'm just like, I don't want them to still know what I like look like and am doing. Yeah.
It's a rough world out there.
Yeah, it's scary. But yeah, I think you shouldn't ghost if you can avoid it. I want to be clear. I just don't think it's the worst thing in the world that people make it out to be.
No.
Yeah. All right, another school question. Is college necessary?
I think college is very valuable, but I understand the roadblocks towards everybody having a college education. But I think everyone should, if feasible, do it.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it should be available to everyone. I think there's some people that are like, I just don't want to do any more schooling, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's definitely not for everybody.
No. I think there's lots and lots of valuable things you can do without a college education. And like if you get a college education, I forget the exact number, but there was like a statistic of at least within America how many people had jobs that were and were not related to like their college degrees. And it's like it's not at all related typically.
I guess I just don't view college as, and maybe it's because I was a liberal arts major, as necessary towards your job.
Absolutely
to me, it's more of like a life thing of exposure to other people, learning new things, learning more about, and not just through like the people you meet, but also just generally the classes. Like you're taking topics that you wouldn't ever take, and you're not specializing necessarily. And maybe mechanical engineering you would be, but for history, I'm just learning about other things, and my worldview is different because of having gone to college. That this would not have happened to me. I would not look at the world the same way if I had.
think that's a great point. Yeah.
I think it's good. I mean, like, if you want a higher paying job, you should go to college. There's also like, you get like just having a degree helps. I know there's like a ton of people like specifically in like liberal arts majors where they get a degree where it's like there's not really a lot of job opportunities in that. So that's where like
Philosophy.
a lot of people end up like taking other jobs, like not really
Yeah.
using their major, and that's where a lot of that statistic comes in.
Yeah.
But even like going to college, you're still like you've got at least something on your resume.
Sure.
And I think a lot of, especially the arts majors, are less about teaching you the thing that you are taking and
Yeah.
more general approaches to life, critical
Yeah.
thinking, reading
Mhm.
and writing, and skills that are applicable elsewhere. And so it doesn't really matter whether you're quote unquote using your major, because
Yeah.
that major has taught you skills that you are using.
Yeah, that you can apply to other things. I think that's a great point. Yeah, and I mean, like you guys said, like if you just don't want to continue school, that's totally fair. I do think it should
Yeah.
be free and available for everyone.
Yes.
But of the base question of whether or not it's necessary, no. Like obviously not. There's plenty of
There
people
are
who
alternatives.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone.
exactly.
I think everyone could benefit
Yeah.
from aspects of college education. But
I do think though that we should just have something that is a more European style of like just educating people more when they're like not in college, like pre-college years, so that they're more equipped to choose whether or not they want to like go to college. And if you don't go to college post like their equivalent of high school, you still have learned a lot more
yeah,
and know how to be a person.
the American education system does this thing a lot where it's like, here is what we're learning. And then you go to the next year or the next level and you're like, by the way, none of that was right. So let's reteach you the correct thing. History does
Yeah.
this constantly. But
History does it all the time. Yeah, like I
when you get
like
to college and you're like, oh, not even high school is correct.
no, it's awful. Like it is just god awful, especially like if you go to high school in a war town, because then you only talk about that war specifically and nothing else.
Yeah.
But it
I
does
thought I
the
had a
same
pretty
thing.
good high school education
Mhm.
comparatively, but you
Fair
definitely
enough.
still get that. Like, hey, maybe we should teach people things that matter. There's a difference between not going into the details and teaching something that's actually incorrect.
Right. Oh man. Okay. Is technology creating or eliminating more jobs?
Eliminating.
Okay.
Definitely eliminating.
For
Okay.
every 4 jobs technology eliminates, it creates 1 job.
Fascinating. Okay.
And people have all sorts of different theories about like at what point is like robots gonna do all our jobs?
Right.
Because if that like rate increases, when would everyone's job be taken over?
And also like what would we like would capitalism just like be done then? Like is that is Marxist revolution in 2022 to just create more robots so that no one can work so that we can like all just not?
Maybe I'm pessimistic on the state of our world, but I would imagine that capitalism
Mm-hmm.
promotes the idea of replacing human workers with robots.
Yeah,
But
but then at what point does that
without-
defeat itself?
It doesn't until
Ah.
society collapses.
Right.
Well,
Because the rich still have to keep getting richer. So you
Yeah.
need people to buy your products.
Sure.
So you need capitalism.
I
But
think,
when the economy
You
crashes,
don't
you
have
can't
money to
buy
do it.
things.
well, I
to-
think that you
yeah.
have to like implement some sort of
Eventually.
like universal basic income.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Because
then
to
like for
companies,
what?
it makes sense to modernize because you have a machine. A machine you just have to do maintenance on. It
Uh-huh.
works whenever you want it to work. You don't have to pay for healthcare. You don't have to pay for benefits. You don't have to pay an hourly wage. You just buy the machine and you do maintenance.
True.
So it's much more cost effective.
Right.
And like there are so many jobs where it's like there are so many fields where it's like your job can be easily automated. Healthcare for one,
Yeah.
easily automated. You just have someone working the robot.
Yeah. My thing with healthcare is like, so like I've been dealing with chronic pain for like a year,
Mhm.
right? I cannot for the life of me decide if a robot doctor would be a better doctor.
Oh, 100%.
Well-
I think no.
So like I'm so torn, right? Because on one hand, right, there's the fact that like maybe I could input all my symptoms and like input everything, and maybe they would like be able to actually do something. But then on the other hand, like the problem with chronic pain is you often come back with like normal tests, right? And if you get just a normal test, does a robot have the humanity to say like, but we should try this other thing? Or does it say just like, well, that's not the problem, but bye?
Yeah,
You know?
I don't think robots are advanced enough to do that kind of critical thinking. Like, let's try something weird, and maybe it's
Sure.
that. I think a robot would
Yeah.
be like, "This is your result. Oh,
So-
that's wrong. That's your result." Like,
Yeah.
that would be
Mhm.
the end of it.
So they've done tests with it of like robots versus like doctors, and like they'll like
Yeah.
give them all like the same symptoms, and
Uh-huh.
the robots are always right and the doctors are always wrong because doctors constantly overlook things. They'll
I
either,
do
like,
think-
overlook symptoms or think it's like
Yeah.
something similar they've dealt with and not the exact thing. Meanwhile, the
That's a
robot has
great
that
point.
database of everything like that they've ever seen, and they can like have possibilities for stuff. It's not like
Yeah.
Google where like if you search up your symptoms
Sure.
on Google,
Yeah.
Google's just gonna like take those keywords and send you stuff that has those keywords.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. For
I
women,
guess-
it's so funny. It's like your ankle hurts, you're pregnant. It's like, I know that's not it, Bestie. Thank you,
I
though.
was- I know I'm not the one that should talk about, but I was thinking that exact like how the sorry, mom, how bad the
Do you want me to
I think
bleep
that's the
just
first-
yours?
Actually, yeah, I think that's the first time I've ever sworn on this show. How bad the healthcare system is for women, that
Yeah.
I can't imagine robots would not be programmed with that badness in mind.
See, because that's a big point, is like who programs the robots?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I
the
just
big
watched
thing
this
with
video
it.
about how much of society is geared towards men and overlooks
Mhm.
women, and I cannot
I could
imagine
rant
that.
for hours. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Engineers
You guys
should be
suck.
required to take like an ethics or like consumer product class, because like I don't know if you guys remember when Apple first introduced like unlocking your phone with your face.
Didn't it like
It's
not work
pretty-
for black people?
It did not work for black people. There was no one black working at Apple to be like, hey, maybe we should like increase the database of like what to pull to recognize a face. And
Right.
it's a very easy fix to do,
Mhm.
but they just did not take the time to do it
Yeah.
because they overlooked it.
hmm
So yeah, I mean, robots can do our jobs 110% better than we ever could.
Sure.
It's the
I
big
do
thing of
think-
like what's going to be next. Like some theorize it's just going to be like, oh, one day this industry is just going to disappear. It's just going to be like very sudden. Like we've
I think
got
so. Trucking.
trucking, yeah. I think healthcare is going to be the big one. Like that's coming soon within like the next 5 to 10 years.
I don't think it'll be like completely gone, because like
I think it could be completely gone.
you think it could be completely gone.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Who
I don't
knows
know.
though?
Yeah.
But like
I think people would fight that. Like,
I think some people would be apprehensive at first.
yeah.
But I also think like
Um,
if they have like the robots that are good enough of like, oh, they can like get you instant results.
Well, I think you'd need to do the kind of thing where like grocery stores, right? So like this is gonna sound like such a silly comparison when talking about like the medical field, but like you had self-checkouts, right? Those existed for years, and now I feel like most grocery stores that I go into are like majority self-checkout, a couple of non-self-checkout
Yep.
things, right?
Mhm.
And then now in like a lot of grocery stores, there's a little like robot that goes around the grocery
Yeah.
stores and like will like help you find whatever item you need if you
Really?
need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, in most grocery stores I've been in at this point, it's like this
That's
tall little
kind of
robot,
cool.
and you can be like chips,
Higher
and there'll be
aisle.
aisle 7, and like it's neat, and it also like cleans up some things. It's kind of like a Roomba
Yeah.
slash like guide. And so I feel like you need to slowly implement stuff like that in order to like get people to feel okay with
Yeah.
it.
I think part of
Yeah.
it too would be like I said, of like every 4 it eliminates like it makes one new job. It's
Right.
like you would get rid of 4 doctors. Instead you just have one doctor that walks around with the robot and like checks
Sure.
to make
Yeah.
sure it's alright.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I just think that's worse for our society if we replace like I understand robots can do things
Yeah.
better than humans, but
Yeah.
at what point are humans no longer needed, that we've created a society that humans can't live in?
Exactly.
And
There-
I just too pessimistic about capitalism to ever think that we could implement a system where humans' needs are taken care of.
Also, I'm the first person to be like, fuck doctors, because they kind of suck sometimes. But, like, also, a lot of them do a lot of good, and so
Yeah.
it's hard to
would-
say like we should completely get rid of them.
Yeah, that's the thing that'll be interesting. Is doctors are like one of the like highest paying jobs
Yeah.
in America, and like you're gonna get rid of those people. There's definitely gonna be some pushback. Of,
There's gonna be massive pushback.
like,
People
hey,
like
you
money.
have these robots that like, can detect cancer like 5 years out before like you would even recognize it.
Yeah.
So it's like
Oof.
they're just so much better than you. Like, how do
Yeah.
you compete to that?
Right. Like if I was given the option for like a cancer screening between like a doctor's eyes and like a robot, I would take the robot 100%.
I guess everyone should watch the YouTube video "Humans Need Not Reply," and it talks all about the automation of every industry. Now, literally every job can be a robot. Literally even
Every
things
job.
you wouldn't think of, like art, can be robots.
Art's already half robots, like
Already kind of is, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that leads to such bad results, even if it might have some good.
it's actually
I
really
think
interesting.
Art
Wait,
would
go.
be like one of the last things because
I
like,
agree. Because that's what humans could still do. Like, like there's so much like philosophy and just like sociology writings on this of like if we didn't have to like work for money, we would inherently want to like create art. Like there is like an inherent human need for creativity kind of thing, and it comes out in different ways in different people and everything like that. But like, yeah, I think that's what we would just do, and that sounds like a great world to me. Unfortunately, I don't know if it would happen. But it'd be cool if it did.
I think the thing with like robots creating art is like you could give them like you could input all the variables of like this is what people like about art. Like let's just say like a painting.
Yeah.
And they would just keep like making the same painting over and over again, and I think
Sure.
people would get stale of that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I agree.
Thing. And so it's like then you'd have to like readjust that robot. But then at what point are you just creating the art?
Creating more art, yeah.
Yeah.
It's also fun. I'm big on like knitter Instagram and like embroidery Instagram and stuff like that. Like there's like handheld like knitting machines that you just crank and that like creates a knit object. You have to do like a little bit of the setup and everything, but it's more than you just actually knitting with your needles. And there's also like embroidery machines where you input an image and it'll embroider it for you. Instead of you doing it by hand. And it's interesting because like I feel like people are very divided on that because some of them are like, that's not like real, like that doesn't count. Like you're not a real embroiderer or knitter. And then some people are like, no, like you're doing great, bestie. And so yeah, I don't know.
Also, robot art sort of sucks. You seen NFTs? Like the monkeys. The way those monkeys work is they like have different variables for like these are the different eyes you could have, these are the different mouths, these are the different heads, and they just run it through. And so like you can go online if you want to buy an NFT, and it's literally like all the different ones. There's like millions of them because they just have different variables. Like in a way you can make your own or just search for it, but like so many of them are just terrible.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't buy an NFT. I don't know if we've been as strongly anti-NFT as we should be.
And if you don't care about the environment, they just look awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're like really bad for the environment.
They're just stupid.
Yeah.
Ignoring like every societal problem, it's just dumb. And maybe don't do dumb things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good thing is it seems like it's died down a bit.
Yeah, it does.
I think
it
so.
Seems like the mania has decreased.
I think it's because there's been a lot of like scams with them.
Yeah, I think
that
so too.
And also government oversight. The government's looking like, hey, here's some extra.
We could make money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Is there free will?
Who knows? I would say yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna say yes and no.
Okay.
I'm gonna say yes, but not in the way we think.
Fascinating.
And that I think a lot of like so much of what we do is influenced by chemical reactions in our brain. But I don't think that means we don't have free will. I think we still do. It's just not. It's not that you are independently making every decision. It's that you are making every decision filtered through all these other things that make up who you are as a person.
Okay.
I think it's interesting with like Greek tragedies where it's like the oracle tells like the story of the future and it's like this is gonna happen. Is there really free will there? because like whatever they said was going to happen ended up happening.
Yeah.
Although, specifically for Greek tragedies, the point of the tragedy is they bring it upon themselves. In
By
trying to avoid it, they create it. So if they just hadn't done anything, then it wouldn't have happened.
That's a good point.
Looking at you, Oedipus.
Specifically, Oedipus' dad.
Yeah. Just don't get rid of him. Like, I don't know. I do think that's like the foolproof way to avoid any of those. Like if like an old lady tells you like, hey, here's your fate, don't do anything.
Just continue living life as you normally would.
Do absolutely nothing. Yeah. And I feel like 9 times out of 10 you'll save yourself. Anyway, I think there is free will, just because like the only arguments I've heard against free will, right, are like there's definitely religious ones, which I know that not even all religious ones are like widely accepted. And then there's just people being like, oh, we're just like predestined, like it's fate, it's destiny. And it's like, I don't know about that. And I just think it's a little bit, there's a bunch of malarkey. A little poppycock. What's another funny word?
Yeah, goofy. It really is.
Yeah. Do souls exist? If so, what are they and where are they?
You're asking the question of 2 atheists and 1 religious person.
Yeah, and I thought it'd be interesting because I think souls exist.
I think souls exist.
Yeah, but I know that Ryan and I would definitely have different ideas of souls. So Adam is a no? You're saying no?
Not in the religious sense, no.
Okay. Oh, well, yeah, I agree. That's saying that.
Well, explain your conception of souls.
I think a soul is just all the little chemically brain things, and it's just pulling on all your heartstrings, and it's just a beautiful little thing about what makes a human a human. So I think it's a combination of like morals and just life experience and stuff. And I think that when like I think about existing past death, right, I do think a soul carries on in a conceptual sense of like people's memories of you. Because we got to remember, I'm an atheist, but I'm also a hippie. So
I was going to say the same thing. Like,
okay.
I don't know if I actually call myself an atheist, agnostic at least, but I am that. But I believe in ghosts. So
yeah, you're not one to talk.
Or at least,
yeah,
I'm open to the possibility that ghosts may exist. Agnostic, but. I think souls are exactly that they're like the impact that humans have on the world.
Yeah.
Whether that be memories, physical things you've done, emotional, like what you leave behind after you're gone is your so-called soul. So
you think it's more of like an energy thing? Yeah. Just overall, like that's where it would be, is just like your aura-esque type of thing, like in impacting ways. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, maybe a little hippie in that way, but.
Have you guys seen the movie Soul?
I actually haven't. I want to.
Oh, it's pretty good.
It's very good. Nice. They have an interesting take on souls as well.
Fascinating. All right, Ryan, let's hear it.
Souls for me is like more religious, I would say. I feel like
where does the soul exist in the body?
The soul is like with your consciousness.
Okay.
And so like I would say your soul is like you as a person, you as a being, you as like your personality. Just like you uniquely. I think like if it is your consciousness, maybe it's like tied to like your morals and like what you think is right and wrong. But everyone has a different soul. I don't believe in soulmates. I think that's very silly.
Ooh, okay, yeah. Fair. I think you have soulmates if mates is Australian.
I think if there's like 2 people, or if it's like you and another person in the world, there's like 8 billion people. What are the odds you're gonna meet like that person in your area? How is your soulmate like not someone from Taiwan? I don't know.
I completely agree. Sheer statistics, your soulmate is not Becky that you grew up with.
Becky on
in
the
high
block.
school with.
If it is, what odds? You should buy a lottery ticket. But
Yeah, I do think though, like seriously, I think it's like friends. Like I think people are like, yeah, like we were meant to be friends kind of thing. Because like we're just too similar not to
I don't
be.
think
Yeah, I
there's
think
like
there are
a
certain
one
people you
person.
connect with.
I think there's like multiple people you're compatible
Exactly.
with.
Mhm.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right. What rated on y'all's parades?
I don't really have anything. Someone else go.
The cat thing rained on my parade, but I already talked about that. So I think instead I'll do a sunny one. I started a YouTube channel for my art Instagram thing.
Ooh,
Nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
Which
pretty
is
fun. With an X art. This is Margo with an X.
Have you posted any videos?
I have 3 videos up right now. One is like they're all like just little crafting ones of like making a pin cushion, making like a scrunchie, but like I knitted it, and then definitely another one. Oh, frogging a sweater, which is unraveling it to like reuse the yarn. Yeah, so I just like want to focus on like reusable stuff to be like sustainable and affordable for people with art, and I think it's fun. Yeah.
Very cool.
so go check it out.
Thanks. Anyway. How about you guys?
Adam, you got anything?
I genuinely cannot think of it.
Okay, I couldn't think of anything good. I went to a bar this weekend.
Was it
and I was
fun?
annoyed. It was fun.
Okay.
But I
Well,
was
you just said
annoyed
you were annoyed.
because like I went to leave, and I had only $8 on my tab, and they're like, "Well, there's a $10 minimum to close out," and I was like, "I didn't know that," so it's very
That's so
upset.
stupid.
Anyway,
Yeah.
they gave me like a free like coin for a free drink. I don't know that I'm ever gonna go back there though, so I just have like a free drink at this bar that I don't think I'm ever gonna go back to.
Right.
And it's like, that's annoying.
I don't like
$8.
that.
Why would you not just take my $8?
Yeah. That's so silly. Because what if someone like doesn't want to drink more than one drink?
I guess that's what the coin is for, but still.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems silly.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there should be like big signage about that.
Yeah. And I also didn't want to start a tab. I just wanted to like pay and that.
Yeah. Yeah. There was one time I like went to a bar that I'd never been to before, and I didn't know that they only did like starting tabs. And so I was just fully intending to say like, yeah, I just want to buy this one drink. And then they just took my credit card and like looked at me weirdly. And then I was like, and then my friend kind of leaned in and was like, oh, they're starting a tab. I'm like, oh, okay. Bye. Like, it was just weird and I didn't like it.
Because I was pretty sure I was like, I just want to pay for this. Like, I want to like buy out.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay. And they put the card down, and I was
Yeah.
like, I see. I was like, no, I wanted to pay. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, it's a $10 minimum for your tab. And I was like, all right, whatever.
Just so silly. Man, what a time. I don't think I like bars. Not that I've had vast experience with them. I've been to a total of 3.
You don't like bars. Because they're like, oh, they're so dirty. And it's like,
they're
yeah,
so icky.
that's
Well,
a
some of
bar.
them are icky. Some of them aren't icky.
And that's
I'm not
not a
an icky
bar.
bar kind of person.
You're not a bar person.
I agree.
I don't gatekeep many things, but I'm going to gatekeep bars.
I think there like are bars that have the vibe of being icky but have areas that aren't icky. Like that have like some more sit down areas that aren't like disgusting. The one near our college that I was telling you I absolutely didn't like, I still absolutely don't like because all of it is icky.
I was gonna say that was like one of the cleaner bars I've been to.
That's one of the dirtiest ones I've ever
Sock.
been to. Ugh, yikes. Yeah. Yeah, no, but I think they're loud and I think they're sticky everywhere, and my cat needs food and he's slamming on his door. Yeah, I'm right on your parade.
I don't know. I've been searching through my prior text with my girlfriend, looking for something I've complained about,
Oh my god.
and I can't find anything. I guess I finished Horizon.
Adam, what are your
So,
thoughts on bars?
Yeah, Adam, what do you think about bars?
oh, I've been to like maybe 2 bars. I don't like bars. I mean,
Nice.
I don't drink, which
Yeah.
kind of takes away the main goal of a bar. I think they're too loud. I was really
Yeah,
actually, I was really annoyed when I went to a bar and they played the music absurdly loud, but then there's also nothing to do. Like it was pretty small, just some seats to sit at. So like literally the only thing you do at this bar is talk to someone, but you can't talk to someone because the music is too loud. So what do you do?
ridiculous.
What do you guys want in a bar?
Just
Well,
a
what's the
better
point of that
atmosphere.
bar? Just get drunk with
Yeah.
your friends nearby?
Have you
Why
ever
would you want to do
seen?
that?
Have you ever seen a bar on a TV sitcom, Ryan?
Yeah,
They're
they're
so
not like
much
that at
better.
But
That's what I want.
What is the appeal to not being able to talk to someone at a bar?
I want to be able to sit down in a booth, mostly eat fried food, and then just talk to my friends.
Yeah.
That's
But
a
with just, like-
restaurant.
Yeah, but with good alcohol. Is that too much to ask for?
That's not a bar.
But what's the appeal of the bar then?
You got loud music. You can party. You're
But like
always
you
you
can't
can't
at the tiny
party.
ones.
Yeah. There's no place to party.
Like I get like dancing at a
Yeah,
place
like-
where there's
like
room to
clubs,
dance.
Like, sure, there's a dance floor, whatever. I get it. But
Yeah.
when there isn't a dance floor, there's literally no place to be except sit down.
Yeah.
But when you sit down, you can't talk to anyone because the music's too loud.
Also, 8 out of 10 drinks that I've had at a bar have been bad because the bartenders think they know what they're doing and they just dump things in there. And I'm sorry, sir, but the measuring cup is there for a reason. Proportions
You can't get good
matter.
bar drinks.
I don't know. I just like. Is it like it's like they pride themselves on being professional bartenders?
Yeah.
Shouldn't they be tasty drinks?
Well, I mean,
Like a
you're
drink that
asking
I've made
someone to
myself
make
and
you a
enjoyed.
drink. Yeah. It really depends on the drink.
I agree, but is it that hard to mess up? Like, or is it that hard to get just whiskey and ginger ale correct? Because that is like my go-to drink, which is just like a glass of ginger ale with like a shot of whiskey in it. And they either put like nothing and then a ton of ice, so it's really just water with a hint of ginger and a hint of whiskey, or too much whiskey. And I like whiskey, so that's not always the biggest issue. But I'm just saying it's not tasty.
Do you ask for ice with it?
No, I've never said anything about ice ever. So I've never asked for ice with it or without it.
Then you need to specify if you want it neat or not.
I didn't know. I would rather just make drinks in the comfort of my own home that I know I'll enjoy. And then play board games with friends.
That's fair.
Board games with friends, always the solution.
Ugh, it really is. Alrighty. Well, don't go to bars. They're
Or
just
do.
so
They're
disgusting.
a lot of fun. You
Are
guys
they,
just
though?
don't like bars.
Just play board games.
That's fun too.
And question your friends and their morality. And have a sunny Wednesday.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.